Excellent. Welcome to the advisory committee meeting, October 19th at 6:30. Call this meeting to order. The Templeton Advisory Committee regular business meeting is being broadcast live on TCTV Channel 8 and TCTV YouTube channel. Responses will be made to comments in the TC YouTube channel as time permits. The agenda and meeting material for this business meeting were posted no later than 48 hours prior to the scheduled meeting in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts open meeting laws. The chair reserves the rights to add items or remove items from or change the order of the agenda. However, the agenda is posted in advance to give the committee and public time to review the agenda items and to ensure the meeting runs within the allotted time frame. At this time, can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we got some business to go over first. The minutes for September 22nd. Do we ever get a chance to look at those? Any issues with those?
I have a couple of questions, Mr. Chair.
Excellent.
The first is the Green Communities grant.
Yes.
I would like to know if you spoke to the town administrator about the status of the Green Communities grant.
That's a great question. In fact, I did. And in fact, that money was located and moved to the correct location where it needed to be in the budget versus actual. It was found. It was located.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And my second question is, we spent a considerable amount of time discussing the light and water pilot payment in lieu of taxes issue. I would like to know the way the discussion was left at the end of that meeting was that you would be speaking to the town administrator further about this issue. And just as a follow-up, I'm wondering if you had a chance to speak with Adam about that issue.
In fact, I did. Basically, and what I conferred was I'm going to try to get a voice on the commission, the Light and Water Commission, at one of their meetings, to go to one of their meetings to ask some questions. That's where it's going to start. I haven't done that yet because I don't know when the next meeting is, but I'll find out and obviously keep everybody abreast when that happens. But I thought was the best way to start.
I think
Let's go to them and then see what their interaction is going to be, how they're going to play it out, how they feel it.
I think that's a good way to start it. I have no further questions.
Okay, and I would definitely like company. I can take one. Otherwise, it'll be an open meeting law violation, but I can definitely take one if you would like to go with me to that meeting. I'll let you know where it is.
Okay.
Excellent. Any other questions? Mike, anything?
No. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
when you approve the minutes, I would just note, could you motion to approve them as amended where the signature line is suggested to have Mr. Euvrard's name on it, and then there's a hanging sentence that I saw at the end of the discussion on the last page of the minutes. There's a hanging sentence that says especially, and it doesn't end, to just cut that off, and then to actually have the vote for adjournment, which I forgot to include in the minutes. So,
Especially at the top.
Yeah.
In the very top. Yeah.
yeah.
You want to strike especially? Justice,
Yeah,
you want to
strike
especially?
it, yeah.
And what about Mr. Euvrard's name in the order?
It, on your copy, it should have, unless it's actually fixed. Oh, it is
That's Mike
actually
Euvrard.
fixed.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
it says clerk and everything.
Oh,
It's
well,
great.
never mind.
He's the clerk.
Then just have that it says motion carried unanimously for adjournment. Is that correct on there?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, that isn't there. Okay,
Yep.
well, then we're good. Just that. strike.
just the especially.
Yeah, okay.
I'll entertain a motion at that time, this time. Make a motion to accept as written. With that change? Yes, with the change. Okay, I have a motion. Of a second?
Second.
A motion second. Any discussion? Okay, none. Mike? Yes, no?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Could you send me, once that's correct, could you send me a clean copy?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, before we go into public comments, do you want to talk about the letter?
Yes. Yes. Mr. Chair, I was presented with a draft letter to Governor Baker's office dated October 12th, 2022. I believe it has since been approved and signed by all the members of the Board of Selectmen. Basically what the letter calls for is the release of $3 million to start work on the Main Street Bridge in Otter River, as that project is shovel ready to go. Before us tonight is a draft letter with the exact same wording as the Selectmen's letter of October 12th,
Okay.
with the exception being that the signature lines would be of the members of the advisory board. At this time, I would offer, well, you may wish to discuss it, but
Okay.
after discussion, I would be prepared to make a motion to
Okay.
approve the letter.
Do you have anything to add, Mike?
All right.
You read the letter?
Just now.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept this for signature and to send off to Mr. Baker's office, Governor Baker's office.
I would move, so move.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. A motion, a second. Any other discussion concerning the letter to the Governor Baker's office concerning the $3 million, hopefully to get released for the Main Street Bridge? I see none. Mike? Yes. No?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. That was an addition to Justice on the, okay, thank you. So I'll get that ready by tomorrow and notify you for signatures, and then I'll get that as soon as possible, okay? Entertain a motion to open the pre-town meeting.
So moved.
Can I have a second? Second. Any other discussion? I see none. Mike? Yes. No?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. And here we go, pre-town meeting. Thank you all for coming to the pre-town meeting. Due to the bylaw change, it was advertised in the Templeton webpage, which we think, so it has been advertised. How long has it been advertised, Justice? 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Couple of weeks, yeah.
Okay, great. Excellent. And just for time and stuff like that, if somebody has questions, comments from the audience, obviously this committee would more than happy to engage those questions. Just come up to the front and just identify yourself, ask your questions. And if we have the answers, great. If somebody in the audience has the answers, even better. Does that sound well with you guys?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, this was served. Wednesday, November 20, the meeting's November 2nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. As the pre-town meeting goes. Okay, here we go. All right. Article 1. Payment of late bills. To see if the town will vote authorize the payment of late bills from prior fiscal years from the FY 2022 budgets of the following departments in the following amounts. Sewer departments, $3,099.60, or take any other action thereto. This has been submitted by the Board of Selectmen, a 9/10 vote required. Any questions or comments on Article 1? Any questions or comments from the audience? Yes.
Just wanted to represent the town administrator. This article would resolve any inconsistencies in existing bylaws once the Commonwealth authorizes a special legislation relative to the creation of a Parks and Recreation Commission in town. If you have any further questions, I have Jeff Aldrich here from the Sewer Department.
Okay, great. You guys have any questions? No. Okay.
Housekeeping.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so we have let's vote on this motion, on this article. How do you vote in favor or against? Mike?
Yes.
Favor? Yes.
In favor.
In favor, and I vote in favor as well. Did you get that? Thanks, Justice. Article 2, fiscal year 2023 operating budget amendment. to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $75,000 and no cents for supplemental appropriations to the fiscal year 2023 operating budget as follows. Well, Select Board, 22,500. Hire grant writer. Insurance and benefits, 12,500 additional for benefits. Select Board, 20,000. Intergovernmental pay raises. Assessors, $20,000 training transition. Contains reserve transferable by Select Board for merit equity raises for personnel and to meet said appropriation by transfer of said sum from certified free cash or take any other action there too. Any questions with Article 2?
The 75,000 is coming out of free cash to be added to the budget.
That's what it says, yeah.
I do have a comment.
Yeah.
One of the provisions is $22,500 to hire a grant writer.
Mhm.
I am in favor of this, and I really commend the select board for proposing this.
Mhm.
I believe that this will pay for itself within 3 fiscal years. You know, one of the needs that has been expressed to me has been for a dedicated outreach worker as part of the senior services budget. And I'm just wondering if down the road in a fiscal year or two, if maybe the grant writing position could be combined with that position. But in short, I think this money, it will pay for itself if the town obtains somebody who's a skilled grant writer.
Absolutely. I think you're right.
Huge dividends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Grant writers are huge benefits to towns, huge in cities, because they bring in so much additional free cash that wasn't normally available to the town.
Holly, the intergovernmental pay raise is 20,000.
Yes,
Do you have anything to add on that?
I do. There's 50,000 currently in the account. And with the wage and compensation study that we had completed, Adam was looking at splitting half and half with the CBA union.
Yeah.
For those people out there that don't know what CBA is.
Yep.
And half with the staff that are non-union. So it's a little more current
Okay.
with what pay rates are.
And that's the amount that he is asking. I mean, it seems low. That's based on the merit raises that I saw. Based on what I saw by the
Well, it seems low to me.
no, I mean,
No.
across the board, I'm talking across the board
Yeah,
between
adding
the,
that to the 50, so he'll have 70.
okay. Okay. Thank you. And the training transition, I would assume that's keeping somebody on part-time, or how's that gonna work? Are you gonna,
That is the plan for the current assessor to stay on for a little bit and train when the person they hire first starts, and then maybe do once a week. So they wanted to make sure there was enough money in there to support that.
so do like a left seat, right seat type deal?
Yeah, give the person a good start with someone who has experience.
Excellent, good call. Anybody else have any questions?
So if the town's level funded, right,
Yes.
how where's the money coming from? So example, $100, level $100, last year, $100, this year, can somebody explain to me how we can still be level funded and add $75,000? I'm not objecting to the increases in the pay and everything, just can somebody help me understand how we can be level funded and yet add to the budget?
No, that's a great question.
Know who that is.
This is, can you identify yourself?
Liz Cove, Gray Road.
Yeah, that's a great question. Do you want to answer that?
I do. So the town was level funded at the town meeting, and that was all voted on. So this is again going to the town meeting, so it does add to the budget. But the town votes on it, so.
So basically what they're saying is it was level funded and voted on and it was approved as it was for 2023. And what they're doing now is they're taking free cash to add to the level funded budget, to keep it level funded, but to add add the 75,000. I'm sorry. Yeah, $75,000.
So technically, it really isn't going to be level funded. We're adding another $75,000 to the budget for the rest of the year.
Right,
Okay, all right, thank you.
right.
Out of the free cash.
Out of the free cash, right.
I'm just,
So when we develop next year's budget, is it level funded based on the original?
No, we
Amount?
based on the
Or it
new
goes on
amount
the
of
new amount?
75,000. With
So-
that 75,000.
So really, next year's budget is 75,000 greater than this year's budget.
Yes, already. Right. Yes,
So next year's budget, there was no direction to level fund it. They're gonna have to put forward what they have and go from there. There was only direction this year to have it level funded.
understood. Did I answer your question?
yes.
Okay.
It's the budget based on.
Okay, we need to vote on this.
I'm not against people.
Nope.
Getting just
No, I mean, everybody knows it's open to the public is what these employees make, that's for sure. We need to vote on Article 2. Are you in favor or against, Mike?
In favor.
No,
In favor.
then I'm in favor as well. Thanks, Ollie. Going to Article 3. Fiscal year 2023 sewer department operating budget supplement. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $70,000 and no cents to increase the FY 2023 sewer department budget by said sum to total in the aggregate the sum of $1,439,000 $750 and no cents. And to meet said appropriation by a transfer of said from certified retained earnings or take any other action there too. Anybody have any questions? Sewer departments here. Excellent. The increase to 70,000 was for
Basic inflation and unexpected costs, basically. One of my lab supplies has a 12% increase.
Okay.
Chemicals and oil.
that was okay. That wasn't all forecasted.
No.
Okay.
Some things, we got a few things that. Think you gotta fix it.
And I know this is a silly question, but obviously you have the dollars in the retained earnings, correct? I know it's kind of a silly question to ask, but okay.
I can
Yes.
tell you that the cost of supplies for our chemicals and my business.
Yeah.
In the last 30 days have increased about 15% in 30 days.
Yeah.
In just
It
a
might
30,
be a lot more.
it's, the cost of chemicals right now is just skyrocketing. It's, we're paying twice what we paid before last
It's
year.
crazy. No, I totally get it. Totally get it. Any other
So you
questions?
couldn't, even a budgeted,
Right.
even an increase in the
I never
budget,
guarantee
and
you stay
then
in budget. If something breaks, we gotta fix it.
everything's blowing outside the budget now with inflation.
Well, my only concern is as long as there's the retained earnings to cover that.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions concerning this? How do you vote?
In favor.
No,
In favor.
I'm in favor as well. Article 4, special article. On the general fund to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $25,000 and no cents for a special article as generally described below. Treasurer collector tax title work, 25,000, and to meet said appropriation by transfer of sum of certified free cash or take any other action there too. So tax title work. Yep. How much money was,
I do. So this one will allow us to continue to make modest progress against the backlog of properties awaiting the process.
yes,
The treasurer collector has made significant progress, but it's essential to continue the positive progress on this front. And we need more funds to do that.
Okay.
Anything further? No?
Right now, we have 160 properties in tax title. I just moved in 59 into that. From fiscal 22's
right,
past dues. We collected $246,000 last year in back taxes. out of tax title.
Wow.
This year so far, we're at 25,000. So we're getting there little by little, but we got a long way to go, and it's, you know, the attorney has to get involved in a good majority of this stuff, and it's costing.
Understood.
I finally have a chance to get to it, having somebody full-time in there.
Right.
I'm finally able to work a little bit more on it, and hopefully we can get some of those over.
All right, what was the amount that, I know there was money in the budget for title work and the original budget, wasn't there?
17.5 I had for 22.
17.5.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions with this? With this article, Article 4?
I gotta step out.
Okay,
All
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Go to work. Or how do you vote, Mike? In favor? No,
Yes,
in favor?
yes.
And I vote in favor as well. Article 5, Rooster Bylaw. To see if the town will vote to amend chapter 133 of the general bylaws by placing the existing section 133-1 to 133-11 under the heading Article 1, Article I, Dogs, and inserting the following Article 2, Rooster and Chickens. 133-12, applicability is, shall not apply to property that is for the primary purpose of commercial agricultural and contains 5 or more acres. B, contains between 2 and 5 acres where the sale of the property produces from the agricultural use generates at least 1,000 per acre annually based on gross salary dollars. No person shall own or keep roosters which by crowing or by other noise that plainly audible from abutting or nearby residential property between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. or unreasonable disturbances the peace and quiet of the other persons. Any person owning or keeping roosters, chickens that are allowed to free range upon abutting or neighboring properties can at any time be required to discontinue their practice at the request of the property owner, and the owner of the fowl must provide suitable deterrent to keep said roosters, chickens from trespassing. Violations of enforcement and disposition upon receipt of complaint under the subsection, the police department shall investigate upon determination of the violation of said subsection exist. The police department shall deliver to keeper of the rooster notice of violation along with the information brochure to be prepared and published by the town of Templeton's Agricultural Commission, discussing best practices for keeping of roosters and outlining various methods of abating the noise impacts associated therewith. Upon delivery of such brochure, enforcement under this subsection shall be stayed for a period of 3 weeks for the purpose of allowing the keeper of the rooster and the opportunity to take remedial measures in response to the complaint. At least 3 weeks after the delivery of the brochure, the police department shall renew its action on the complaint and shall impose a non-criminal disposition or take any other action thereto. Submitted by the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health, excuse me. Okay. Anybody have any questions on it? You want to start, Molly? What do you got?
Yeah, this proposed bylaw will be complaint driven to remedy neighborhood issues arising from domestic fowl.
Okay, excellent.
Lori might have something further.
I'm gonna let Liz ask her questions
Oh,
first,
okay.
so I can answer them all at once,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Go ahead, Liz.
First, under what authority does the Board of Health have to, first of all, dictate, propose a rooster bylaw? Because if you look at everything that falls under the Board of Health authority, there isn't anything there that allows that. It's the Ag Commission. And that's number one. So I'll start with that question. I just have a list.
Okay,
It's actually based on nuisance, noise and complaint driven. It's for the purpose of, and it's very few problems that we have, but we have no teeth for what happens. Do you want an example or you want me to wait?
I'm aware of one situation. And the problem is, it doesn't really fall nuisance if you, because I went and I read stuff, right?
Yep.
And reading everything,
Mhm.
the Board of Health has no authority to do this. To write this bylaw, first of all. Second, it's a zoning bylaw. And so you really don't have authority from a zoning perspective. Third, it falls, the dollar figures are in excess of what would be under 61A. So there's a financial aspect that's even is discriminatory.
I think the state law, not to interrupt you, is $500. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's $500.
That's for 61A,
That's correct.
USDA
Yes,
classifies it differently.
yes, they do.
But
I've
that's-
read that as well.
Right, it's 60, but the 61A for farm agricultural use in the town of Templeton is $500. No matter, with minimum of 5 acres. So even the bylaw from that perspective does not meet any of it. It's discriminatory, if nothing else. The second thing is define unreasonable. And all of the ways of controlling a rooster are cruel and would fall under abuse of animals. So all the way around, you can't, it doesn't make sense.
I am open to suggestions, however,
Yeah.
our main concern is the noise nuisance, and it's very few and far between. It's not the farms that are an issue. It's the 1 acre or less individuals who are moving here thinking they can farm and free ranging, and they're everywhere. They're getting hit by cars. They're not fenced in. We're not looking to stop anybody from having roosters or chickens.
Well, that's exactly what you're doing though. You're actually stopping that because,
Who are we stopping?
well, when I went and bought chicks a number of years ago, all right,
I can't tell. Yep.
right, purposely bought chicks that were females,
Mhm.
right? Out of the 12 chicks, 2 were roosters,
Correct.
all right?
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time, all right?
Yep.
So, based on this bylaw, I have a neighbor across the street who complained that it was my rooster that was keeping his kids up. All right, I have no way of control. I don't have any chickens, roosters right now at all, right? But he was saying, well, you're keeping your rooster's keeping my kids up. Well, it's like, well, you've got a neighbor over here, over here, over here, right? It's not just me,
Right.
that has roosters, right? And his response was, well, why don't you just get rid of them? Well, I want chicks,
Right.
From-
You need roosters.
I
to
need a
get
rooster
chicks.
to have chicks,
Yep.
right?
Agreed.
So, and we went back and forth a bit, right? And he's like, well, I want peace and quiet. I went, well, I would like peace and quiet too. Don't run your yard equipment all day long. So you get that back and forth stuff.
Yep. I
And-
agree.
And I honestly do not believe that this rooster bylaw is really enforceable. You can't, one person's definition of reasonable is somebody else's unreasonable.
Mhm.
And the hours are, you can't control when a rooster's gonna crow. You cannot do that.
I agree and I disagree because
Have you raised?
I have
I
a
have
comment.
not, but I have
Him and then me.
have. And I did use the expertise of Mike Cahill, who's the Director of Agriculture and Animals for Massachusetts. He didn't find an issue with the way this was written, and he was very concerned about it.
Concerned how?
Concerned that I was stopping people from having
Chickens.
roosters and chickens, and
Gotcha.
that's not the intent, not in any way, shape, or form. There are severe cases where people go at each other, as you described, and there needs to be some kind of mediation that has teeth.
I got it. You have, hold on, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you
I
want to
have
say
some
something?
questions.
Go ahead, Noel.
and comments, because first of all, I think this is gonna generate more discussion and debate on the town meeting floor.
It is, I'm sure.
No doubt about it. I guess my first question, I think it was kind of answered, is this a solution in search of a problem? I mean, how many complaints a year?
I
does it-
have way too much work to be out looking for problems.
Mhm.
I am not looking for problems. I am looking to solve the problems I already have.
But,
And
but how many problems, related to,
I have
the
5
rate-
sitting on the books,
5 in the past year?
going on for a couple of years.
Okay,
Can't get rid of them.
all right, so there's,
5 out of 8,000.
Out of 8,000 people, I have 5 people who are not neighborly. That's how I'll put it.
okay. And my second question is, Templeton is a right to farm community.
It is.
And how does this, if this was to pass, how would it affect Templeton being a right to farm community?
In my opinion, it doesn't affect the right to farm.
It does.
Why do you think it does?
It does because first of all, it's a slippery slope for saying, first you remove the roosters, then you remove peacocks, you remove, every single noisy animal there is throughout the whole, it just one by
Sets
one by
precedents.
one.
Yeah.
And if you read the actual right to farm law, right, it is very clear that the commercial aspect is very focused on very small number of areas, all right? You have a right to raise poultry. You have a right to do that. Poultry includes roosters.
Does the right to farm have an acreage requirement?
Actually, I don't remember if it does or does not.
I believe it does.
61A has an acreage
It does.
requirement.
No.
The
Remember seeing that.
61A has one.
All right, one
Okay,
second.
all right,
You all set, Mel?
no.
Okay, one more.
I'm sorry, I
Okay,
just,
go ahead, Mel.
no, I'm just trying to wrap my head
I
around this.
understand.
This issue. So the next issue is, as far as, you raised the point about unreasonableness, that's well defined by numerous case laws and it's well defined. That to me is kind of
No,
an issue.
it isn't when it comes to roosters. It's not well defined.
Okay,
A single, based on this, a single crow from somebody, from a rooster, any place in somebody's next door yard could be defined as unreasonable depending upon the neighbor. It is not well defined. And a rooster goes off it can crow at 2 a.m.
do you think that issue of reasonableness is addressed?
I think that Liz has a very good point, but I find it hard to discern the difference between close quarters of a continually barking dog and a continually crowing rooster when your neighbor is less than 100 feet from you.
Okay. I got 2 more questions and I'll be done. Is the Board of Health Authority, does this come under the state statute, authorizing the scope of activities of a Board of Health official?
I felt that it did under nuisances, but I'll try and provide you with that authority. I don't have it with me.
And I guess my last question is related to that is, does this really duplicate existing nuisance law or right to quiet enjoyment law? Because, all right, you have 5 people who are aggrieved. Well, why don't they just go to the district court?
Make it a civil matter.
Make it a civil
Exactly.
matter. And it seems like this is a duplication.
We've spent a lot of time on it. I would love it if they went to civil court.
And I
Mike,
think,
you have any
I
questions?
think, I think he's exactly right. What we're talking about here is a civil matter between 2 neighbors. And not a place where the town needs to get involved, because if you have a problem with your neighbor, whether it's he cuts down a tree that you say is on his property, but you say is on your property, what happens? You don't call the town. You take it to civil court to resolve your differences. Under this same thing, if your neighbor is causing a nuisance to you and not to the other neighbors, it's a discrepancy or a disturbance disagreement between 2 neighbors that needs to be handled in civil court. By making the town the person that does the interjection and does a non-criminal disposition, which to me is a civil affair, civil matter, civil citation, now the town is responsible to go to court and take on the complainant. That's going to cost the town money. Now, because you have to have representation, and anytime that any lawyer I know of, if you retain a lawyer, it's money, and it's a lot of money. So it's almost like we're taking away the burden of doing the action from the complainant, the complaintee, the person who's making the complaint, and saying, we're going to take care of this for you, and we're going to spend our money, and you're not going to spend yours.
Fair point.
So it really is a civil matter. You can interject as much as we want, visits, whatever, but in the long run, it's the person who has the problem's responsibility to go to the court and file a civil complaint, not the towns. That's just my opinion. And if the person doesn't want to go to the court and file a civil complaint, well, then it's on him. He has to deal, or he or she, they have to deal with the noise because they have the opportunity to address it in civil court. And that's what civil court is for. It's not the town's responsibility to interject and become the representation for the landowner who's making the complaint.
Any other questions? Yeah, let's vote on Article 5, the rooster bylaw. How do you vote, Mike?
No.
You vote against?
Yes.
Thank you. No.
No,
Are you for or against?
against.
Against. And I'm against as well. Article 6, amending the bylaw regarding Community Preservation Committee to see if the town will vote subject the acceptance of the special act by the general court to amend chapter 9 of the general bylaws as follows. 9-9 established members, terms, vacancies, and removal. There is hereby established a Community Preservation Committee, CPC, consisting of 9 voting members pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44B. Composition of the CPC, the appointment authority, and the term of officers for the CPC members shall be as follows. One member of the Templeton Conservation Commission, as designated by that commission. 1 member of the Templeton Historical Commission, as designated by that commission. 1 member of Templeton Housing Authority, as designated by that authority. 1 member of the Templeton Park and Recreation Commission, as designated by that commission. 1 member of the Templeton Planning Board, as designated by that planning board. 1 member of the Templeton Board of Assessors, as designated by that Board of Assessors, and 3 members to be elected at large from the registered voters of the town. Or take any other action there too, submitted by the Community Preservation Committee. Okay, anybody have any questions?
Justice? Article 4, the line 4, where it says parks and is bolded, is that a typo?
No,
Is that there
Parks,
for-
and that is.
Is that based
done
on the
purpose.
proposed?
That is the proposed language change. What's in bold is the proposed language change, because right now,
It's just,
we are still waiting for the special legislation that was passed at last fall town meeting in 2021 to go through, which changes our recreation commission to a Parks and Recreation Commission.
Okay.
This is just to get ahead of when that change happens,
That's
so
what I
that
thought.
way that's
Okay.
consistent with the bylaws. Yeah.
so there's consistency across the board?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Paul, you have anything to add?
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions, comments? Article 6. Okay, how do you vote, Mike?
In favor.
No, how do you vote?
In favor.
And I'm in favor as well. Article 7. Community Preservation Committee appropriations. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $124,000 and no cents for various activities and special articles as follows. Narragansett Historical Society, $75,000, Grange Hall Historical Resource. Narragansett Historical Society, $9,000, Drape Restoration Historical Resources. Building and Grounds, $40,000, Gilman Waite Open Space. Continued rehabilitation of Grange Hall at 9 Humberson Road, a historical building in the Templeton, continued upon the demonstration of the public benefit by continued free admission to public events held at Grange Hall for Templeton residents. This association will use the preservation of 2 historical drapes for display at the Templeton Grange Hall. continue improvement for Gimlin Waite, making the public restrooms functional. Or take any other action there too. Senator Templeton, on behalf of the Community Preservation Committee. And yes, any questions, comments on the Article 7? Article 7?
The 40,000, does that all go towards the rehabilitation and functionality of the restrooms?
That's a great question. It's a great question. Is it all 40,000?
It is.
It is?
It is, it needs plumbing, electrical,
And is a quote to back that up?
is what?
We received a quote, a construction quote estimate to back that up. Or is
Yeah,
that just
actually,
a-
it's gonna be buildings and grounds that do it, so they have gotten quotes on getting the electrical and everything done. And then they're gonna be doing some of the finish work.
Well, it's great that they're using CPC funds for that.
And it's basically a complete overhaul.
Well, there's nothing there.
Got-
Yeah.
It's got
It's
to
just a,
sell.
it's just a block building, right?
It's just a
now.
block
So it's to complete that.
Yes.
Oh, no.
These grant monies and don't add to the tax.
Hmm. Right. Exactly.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah,
It
exactly
was a
right.
little high. But that's
Any other questions with Article 7? See none. Mike, how do you vote?
in favor.
No, how do you vote?
In favor.
And I'm in favor as well. Article 8. Cemetery rules. See if the town will approve pursuant of chapter 114, section 23 of the Massachusetts General Laws, the following amendments to the Cemetery Commission rules. Well, it's a lot of reading here.
Can you read just the changes, the proposed changes?
I can do that.
That's a
Which
good idea.
makes, yeah, makes sense. Because
Save you an
otherwise
hour.
I will be here forever, yeah. If shrubbery approaches or abuts lots is deemed a hazard or impedes safe passage for maintenance of lots, it may be removed without notice. Change 1. Change 2. All plantings must be within the lot boundary, or they will be subject to removal without further notice. Artificial flowers and greens will be only permitted from November 15th until April 1st due to maintenance and environmental impact. Excessive decorations are subject to removal upon the discretion of the cemetery department. All upright monuments will be all upright monuments will need to be submitted via draft to the cemetery foreman for prior approval prior to installation will be scheduled. Cemetery foreman reserves the right to submit said drafts to the cemetery commission for additional review if needed due to any concerns that may require additional fees or services or possible refusal. Each lot may contain one upright monument. Additional monuments will be considered, however, they will be required assessment for multiple factors, including but not limited to the location for placement and the impact on future plots, use maintenance, safety, visual aesthetics, etc., and will require unanimous approval from the cemetery commission. Benches will be considered the upright monument for that lot. Animals are prohibited from the cemeteries except for service animals. Unused lots can be gifted back to the town pending approval of the cemetery commission with the understanding that they will be resold if applicable at current market value. I think I hit everything. Submitted by the Board of Cemetery Commissions, cemetery required. Anybody have any questions with that?
No, I was just gonna say, Joe Salata and Mike from Cemetery Commission, if you have any questions, feel free to bring it up.
Oh, great. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. You guys got a tough job. We're just dying to get in there,
A
so,
lot of laws.
yeah. I said it out loud.
You hear that?
I'm gonna be,
Uh,
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna go to the veterans one, sorry, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Yes,
Why without why is things being removed without notice? Why not with notice, at least, 30 days notice or 15 days notice or some kind of notice? And the reason I'm asking is because I've had problems down the end of my road where my lilacs are, where folks keep cutting them down, the town employees keep cutting them down, and so it's like, well, why no notice?
Yeah, we usually, honestly, there has been situations where we've noticed and notified people multiple times and they don't do it and it continues to impede. And so it's like, we've reached out to them, on a couple of occasions, hey, can you remove this? Can you cut your shrubs down? Because what ends up happening is then it starts coming over to the next lot. And then that next person starts complaining. So as a courtesy, we try to let them know, but we try, if we can't get them to do it like right away, we reserve the right to do it. And we're not gonna just go down there and cut everything down,
I've heard that
you
before.
know, but and that's just been the case, the feedback that we get.
right.
But the no notice part, to me, is, I think wrong for somebody who hasn't, for the cemetery, right? I would, if I had something, I would like the courtesy of notice, at least once,
But can I also add too, that the cemetery foreman and the people that work under him, okay, they have to keep up on the maintenance of this. And it's a situation where they can't be stopping every so often to make phone calls to say, hey, listen, it's impeding their mowing or their weed whacking or whatever it may be. And the changes are intended so people know going into it.
Right, this will be
Okay.
prevented to people.
So when they go into it, they'll understand that, listen, you need to keep the shrubbery within your lot, because if you don't, it is subject to removal.
our laws were about 30 years ago. So none of these rules were in effect when our laws were bought. So not having notice, I think, is quite frankly rude, not having some semblance of notice saying, hey, you're coming close here, you need to do something once, not having anything, I think is just rude. That's my opinion.
Okay.
The other thing is just that November 15th through April 1st dates of not being able to put anything on there limits, you can't put anything, any community, stuff between Memorial Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and our lot does not have a standing headstone, which basically says, I can't put anything on my lot.
That's saying artificial.
That's what I put on it, silk flowers.
But it's only for that window between November 15th to April 1st.
No, only permitted between November
Right.
15th. So
Right.
April 2nd through
Right.
November 14th, during the summer, you can't put anything on there.
Well, you can put real flowers on there, you can plant real flowers, but the problem becomes when the trimming and the mowing, and you have these artificial flowers and they damage equipment, we could certainly send the bills to the residents to fix the equipment. That's fine, because it happens.
Send me the bill.
But
I'll send you the bill
It's-
for my.
So you're saying,
So-
so I got it. What you're saying is if,
What I'm saying.
let me
is
help
that
you.
when-
Yes, I understand. Let me help you. So if I have a flat headstone and I put an artificial flower pot on my flat headstone or next to my headstone and the lawnmower runs it over and damages the mower, it's my responsibility. I'd say it's, if I put,
they're not gonna do that. but
well,
like
that's what
maybe
you
put
just said that.
it-
You just said that. I understand what you're trying to do.
New purchases and whatnot.
I
And
understand.
they've been really good, like honestly, the team, so.
Do you guys have a contract? You obviously have some type of contract that you sign when you buy a lot. You have-
Yes.
And there's, within that
So the
contract,
rules are
Alice,
presented
yes.
to them.
And how many people do you have on your staff right now, full-time,
Uh,
cemetery commission?
You've got, it's only 2 full-time,
Mhm.
and then, so you've got Brian and Jake, and then we've got 4 seasonals that are usually, their time comes up, I think it's November, I think it's the end of November, and then it just becomes Brian and Jake, right? So they're the ones, and because we'll be burying people all through the winter. But that's how the staff is set up today. So they're seasonal for about 6 or 7 months.
Okay, and you guys are breaking ground in the winter as well?
Yeah. Yeah, they were in there with jackhammers and breaking ground, if people want it,
Understood.
or they can push it to the spring, but
Yes.
some people, want to have their service.
I totally get
Yes,
it.
they're the ones plowing and everything like that, and then when you lose that staff,
Yes,
it becomes, it becomes a resource,
Mhm.
because they're also doing all the grounds
understood.
and the parks.
I got you.
And I also state that we were approached by the foreman. And just asking us that, they run the problems when they're weed whacking. okay?
Right.
And the weed whacking is happening from basically May to.
Right.
Like, basically the fall.
Mhm.
So that's why he doesn't have a problem with the artificial plastic flowers in the winter time, but in the summertime, weed whacking. Say they hit one of them, now they're picking up plastic everywhere, it's time consuming, they don't have a huge staff.
I got it.
And then also too, before we made these proposed changes, we also surveyed all the area towns, like we did that due diligence
All right.
to find out, okay, what are the.
Some of them don't even allow it. Artificial
Lunenburg allows
flowers.
it. Lunenburg allows
Right.
it.
No, I got you.
Gardner, Royalston, there's several that don't.
I understand.
More don't.
So we're trying to find a happy medium, to be reasonable to people in town, but also understand that, like, the workers have concerns as well.
Right.
We're trying to,
Strike a balance.
strike a balance.
I got you.
Did do our due diligence when we polled the area towns.
And how many acres is it now with both cemeteries? How many acres is that? Do you remember?
I think it's, trying to think of the fertilizer quote. I think it's 40,000 and 40,000, I think, in Pine Grove.
Yep.
And I think it's around 70 or 80, the green line.
Maybe 40 acres.
Square-
except-
yeah.
oh,
Square feet, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Square feet, about 40. Actually, I don't know.
It's more than that, but like it's, again, we apologize, we don't have those numbers right in front of us.
Yeah.
but
What I'm saying is the acreage was pretty large for two people,
Huge.
correct?
Two people, so like every interruption, and then you have to,
I understand. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
And I encourage you to look at.
Oh, do you have anything to add? Okay, Mike, how do you vote?
Against.
Second. Mike, you're against?
Yes.
Well,
How do you vote? No?
Yes.
You for?
Yeah.
No for, okay. And I'm for as well. Okay, where are we? Article 9? Article 9, deposit to demolition revolving fund to see if the town will vote subject to acceptance of the special act of the general court establishing the fund to appropriate the sum of $2,500 and no cents, $2,500 to make a deposit into the demolition revolving fund for the purpose of addressing properties which may require demolition. If you guys want to talk, you can actually go outside the building, outside the door. That'll be great. Or to meet any appropriation by transfer of said sum for certified free cash or take any other action there too submitted by the board, the select board. Okay, any questions with this? Oh, you got anything?
I do. We have a special act pending currently with the Commonwealth. This would establish a special fund for addressing blighted properties in town, which are in need of demolition and cleanup.
Mhm.
And it's pending action right now. So there's already 50,000. We're gonna be adding this to that.
2,500, yeah.
I'm sorry. I have
Go ahead.
a couple of- So where would the money come from and why $2,500?
Free cash.
I would have to check with the
It's
town
coming.
administrator.
Okay,
I
okay.
want to
It's coming from
stop
free
working
cash.
out and Get back to you. Where would the cash come from?
No, John already corrected me,
Okay.
being from free cash, but why 2,500? I didn't catch.
Low, right? It does seem low. I think he's just trying to add some more to it. We already have 50,000 in there that was already voted. Ready
Does
to
seem
put
low,
into
doesn't
that account.
It seems very low.
It does seem
I agree.
low.
I'm
I
like,
mean,
I
just,
mean,
I guess
that's,
the reason
that
why-
might be just the estimate of getting the house removed. 2,500.
Right.
And I guess my question goes to is why such a small amount? It's almost like a nickel and diming amounts where you should have, it seems to me like you should have kind of a larger lump sum, like
Right.
$25,000 or $50,000.
Well, we already have that 50,000
Right.
aside for that.
But I
I
mean,
think he's just adding what was left after his other calculations possibly.
because the management policies, the financial management policies dictate like where certain monies have to go by percentages, like,
Oh,
you
so
know,
that's
like
where it
OpEx, the
came.
CapEx, the infrastructure, OPEB and stuff like that. So once all that stuff was done, whatever was left, he kind of moved things around to utilize whatever free cash was left. And obviously 2,500 ended up going into that.
It's a revolving account.
It's a revolving.
So what's not expended in the year rolls to the next.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that explanation makes sense.
And we add to the account every year.
Yes. They're supposed to be.
So the rollover plus the additional amount
Mhm.
appropriated, and then now another 2,500.
Yes. So those 50,000, this was just made last town meeting.
It was created.
It was
then.
created then, yeah.
There are
That
quite a
goes,
few properties.
what's that?
There are quite a few properties.
Yeah, obviously the big one is obviously by the Dunkin' Donuts in Baldwinville, as we all know.
But I just feel that there should be at least $100,000 in that account. I mean, demolition is very expensive.
It is. No, you're right.
It just seems like, even the $50,000,
Yeah, I mean, especially if houses, the older homes that have like,
right?
That's where the grant writer will come in.
Yes,
yes, I see, good point. Absolutely.
you're right. Yeah, that would probably earn the grant writer's salary in the first year just for that. Just for that account.
I listen, every rock needs to be unturned. So Article 9, any other questions? Mike, how do you vote?
Yes.
In favor? No?
Yes, in favor.
And I'm in favor as well.
Mr. Chair, I have a quick
Yes.
comment.
Are we going back to Article?
Yeah, I actually have the square footage of the cemetery.
Okay, go ahead, send it.
So I've got, we've got two. We've got Pine Grove, it's 156,028 square feet. And then Green Lawn is 195,741 square feet.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to Article 10. Deposit general fund stabilization OPEB accounts to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $462,500 and no cents to make appropriation to the Operation OPEX capital, CapEx, and infrastructure stabilization accounts and the OPEB reserve accounts as followed. OPEX, 175,000, CapEx, 115,000. Infrastructure, 115,000, OPEB, 57,500. And to meet said appropriate by transfer side sum of certified free cash or take any other action there too, submitted by the select board. Anybody have any questions? Do you have the total amounts now? What's going to be, what's in OPEX once this 175 is approved, potentially?
I can go and get.
I'm just curious. Did it reach the 2 million mark yet?
1.5.
Yeah,
Getting close.
1.5?
yeah, I can go get a copy of that and get the exact.
No worries, no worries. Just if you can send it to me, that'd be great. Unless you guys want to see that. Okay. Obviously, the accounts are doing very well and commend
Yeah.
all the employees. This is fantastic. And he's following the management policy, so, which is also a good thing. Any questions with Article 10? You have anything to add, Holly? That's just in time,
The
administrator.
percentages are putting in there for the financial, according to the financial management policies.
Okay.
60% from the reserve for working capital and other town needs.
Mm-hmm,
15% transfer to the general stabilization fund.
mm-hmm.
10% transferred to CapEx stabilization fund. 10% transferred to infrastructure stabilization fund. 5% transferred to the OPEB reserve.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, Article 10. How do you vote, Mike?
In favor.
Favor? No?
In favor.
In favor. And I vote in favor as well. Article 11. Delete fireworks civil assessment within chapter 1-7 to see if the town will vote to delete text of chapter 1-7 subsection G, part 4 of the bylaws and to mark said part as reserved. Or take any other action right there too. Can you give me some input on that?
Yeah, this is just a house cleaning item. The bylaw is superseded by Mass General Law that
Mhm.
already has fireworks law.
I got you. Any questions for that? Mike, you have anything?
No.
Okay, Mike, how do you vote? In favor? Mike's in favor. No,
In favor.
I'm in favor as well. That completes our pre-town meeting. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to close the fall pre-town meeting.
So moved.
Have a second? Second. Okay, any questions? Yes,
Question.
yes,
Are you gonna have your recommendations to us so I can get them into the voters guide?
yes.
Great.
Yes, you will. Any other questions? I see none. Mike, how do you vote?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We don't have any old business, new business, the 2022 fall town meeting recommendations, like we just said, we will have them to you tomorrow.
Yep, I have that sheet. As you guys were voting, I put everything already in, very similar to last year. very
Excellent.
clean, very simple. I can plug that straight into the voters guide right now. If you were to vote to approve, what you guys had recommended here today, I have all your votes. Do you have any questions on votes or?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
It's good. Okay, great, thank you. Any other discussion that we have to take up at this point? No? Member comments? No?
Yes, the only comment I have, we already approved the draft letter on the $3 million.
Yes.
It would have been, over the past several months and talking, to different department heads, there is, there is a general need for, an employee here or there in various town departments, and I'm just wondering, I know the time for the fall town meeting has passed, but I think it would be very helpful to the select board if we were to come up with a series of recommendations of actions that should be taken over the next couple of years.
Okay.
With regards to the various departments, and the pilot issue is another issue.
Mhm.
The relationship with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is a third issue. I think I made it clear, to you and into the select board and to Adam, our town administrator, that I think our function is best served by offering the select board big picture recommendations.
Mhm. I agree.
I think that's very important. And what I wanted to ask you, Mr. Chair, is if you as chair could set a time frame for submitting general recommendations for the select board and the town administrator, and an opportunity for us as members to contribute to that. That's all I have.
So what time frame? What was the other thing you said? Sorry. Is there a time frame and?
Just a time frame for these big picture items. And I'm just asking you as the chair to set a time, hopefully before the end of the year.
Okay.
Of just items, big picture, recommendations that hopefully the select board would adopt, or that there would be town meeting articles within the next 2 fiscal years.
Okay. I'll start working on that.
And I would, certainly be glad to provide you input.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. Thanks. Do you have anything, Mike?
Yes, just two general comments. When creating new bylaws or amending bylaws, it's very important that we do due diligence in our wordsmithing. When we craft a document, how we write things is very important as how it's perceived by the public. It's a really hard thing to do to write any regulation. I've done it many, many times in the military. You have to look at it from the inside and you have to look at it from the outside. And it's all about perception and words are powerful. What goes in a document is powerful. It sets precedents. And you have to be careful when you write a document on setting precedents. And sometimes you have great intentions and you're perceived as doing the correct thing, but the precedents you set opens the doors to headaches further down the line. So, and this is just everyone in general, just when we craft new bylaws or we amend our bylaws, we have to be very careful about what we write and how it's written. It's all about perception. And the other thing is, as stewards of the town's finances, we have to start to really try to be really good stewards of the finances as the economy shrinks and times get tougher. It's our responsibility to look into the budget and look into where we can make cuts in savings, just not cuts, but savings, so that our money goes further, so that we can stretch the budget. And it's going to be really important in the next few years because I do not see it getting any better for the next few years. It's whenever we go into whatever you want to call it, in the economies like this, it takes 3 times as long to get out as it did to get in. So it's going to be tough times, and we really have to take a hard look, and we just really can't rubber stamp something because it was the way it was last year or the year before. We have to really look hard because the people's pocketbooks are getting smaller, and it's not any of their own fault, but we still require the same amount from them. So we have to really work hard at making sure the money they entrust to us is spent in a proper way and fiscally responsible. That's all.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. First, I want to obviously thank all the employees for and the select board office for getting all the warrant to us in a timely fashion. I really do appreciate that, for us to have the opportunity to review it prior to coming to obviously the town meeting here, the pre-town. And yeah, everything that you guys are doing is great. So I think you guys don't get enough credit, and I think where credit is due based on what you do for the town and for the residents here of the town. It's very important to me to see. And I really want to thank you guys for coming. I really do appreciate it, and the work that you guys do as well. And you too. I think you do a lot of work. Do you have something to add?
I do have something that I wanted to ask. You guys, just as a note, didn't formally vote to submit your recommendations. I just wanted to see if you guys would do a formal vote on that on record, just to make sure.
Sure, we could do that. I'll entertain a formalized vote to go onto the warrant as we gave our recommendations tonight.
Second.
Oh, great. I'll have great. I've made the motion. I have a second. Any other questions? I see none. Mike?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. You're good to go. See how that works? Democracy in action. All right. At this time, I want to take a motion to adjourn. I have a second. I didn't hear it.
Second.
Oh, I have a second. Great. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I'm a little deaf in this ear. Any questions, comments? I see none. How do you vote, Mike?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
I vote yes.